what's up guys, and welcome back to Move Plus. I hope you've had an awesome week so far. Our workout today is going to have 3 sections to it, so we will kick things off with the warm-up, so just taking some time to get the muscles and the joints prepped. From there, we're going to move into the build workout, which will be 3 sets of a RDL, hang power clean, and deficit push-up combo. From there, we'll go into the move workout, which is going to be some cardio, hang power cleans, that's going to be an alternating one, so single-sided, and then we're going to go into Russian twists as well, so adding in a little bit of core work too. Once all that's done, we're going to go through a little bit of cool-down mobility work. So if we circle back around now to the warm-up, guys, we'll start off with 2 minutes of cardio of your choice. So we're going to do 2 drills and just kind of bounce back and forth between them. So the first one is 10 lateral plate jumps. So we're going to stand on one side and basically like ski jump across back and forth till we've done 10 reps. Then we go into 20 jumping jacks. So that's going to look like this. So those 2 things will just be on repeat for 2 minutes. From there, the next 3 minutes, what we'll do each minute on the minute is 7 push-ups, which is going to look like this. So chest to ground up to a lockout. In remaining time out of each minute block, you'll do as many sit-ups as you can. So setting ourselves up either with or without an ab mat, and then moving from ground touch to toe touch in the remaining time out of that minute round. Good to go, Maddie? Yep. All right, starting in 10. So we're going with the 2-minute cardio block. So 10 lateral jumps into 20 jumping jacks. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So just starting off nice and slow, nice and easy. You can see Maddie's taking a little pause at the ground there. That's a good way to start. Eventually we'll start to kind of just rebound back up again, and it'll start to resemble that kind of ski jump sort of feel. But you want to take that time just to warm up the calves, warm up the knees, that sort of thing. He's going to go till he hits 10, and then we're going to move into the 20 jumping jacks. So feet jumping in and out, arms going from hips up to overhead. You guys obviously can pick what you want to do. The cardio choice is kind of up to you. So if you want to pick 1 movement or you want to pick 3 movements, that's okay. As long as it's nice, simple stuff, you can keep sort of mixing it up however you want to. The main thing is that it gets that heart rate up. All right, so back in again. So you can see we've gone for quite a low plate. Okay, we're not jumping up onto a big box or anything like that. This just needs to be nice and easy, nice and simple, and just moving back and forth, keeping the feet fairly close. You'll notice Maddie's kind of keeping his eyes cast down. Obviously, you want to make sure we know where that target is. We don't want to trip over the top of it. And we're back on the jumping jacks again. So this being obviously for the purpose of warm-up, guys, we want to go as big as we can with those arm movements. This is not about speed and trying to get as many rounds as possible. We're actually trying to go for a maximum sort of joint movement, maximum warm-up. Okay, 30 more seconds. Okay, 15 seconds. So remember, in a moment, we're going to move on to the push-ups and sit-ups each minute for the remaining 3 minutes. All right, I reckon we'll get ready for those push-ups when you're ready there, Maddie. 3, 2, 1. So going into 7 push-ups. So we've got the feet nice and close, hands kind of wound in underneath the shoulders there, going chest to ground up to a lockout. Notice the nice rigid body position. He's not sort of sagging through the midsection there, he's staying tight. And now in remaining time, so about 45 seconds, we're going to move through these sit-ups. So again, doesn't have to be fast. It's not about getting a bazillion reps out in that remaining time. It's just about moving well and getting the body ready for the other parts of the workout, so the build and the move workout. So notice he's got a sort of a standard of movement with this, guys, where he's touching the toes at the top and he's also touching the ground at the back. And that just ensures we get the same full range of motion every single time. Okay, 10 seconds. We'll start getting ready for that push-up again. All right, going in 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So Maddie's doing the full, or what we call like an RX version, guys. It's up on the toes. You can also scale to on the knees if you need to, which is going to look like that. Okay, it's whatever's just going to allow you to move through this smoothly. The 7 doesn't necessarily have to be unbroken, but it probably should be. For the sake of warm-up, pick one easy enough that you can. And then if you do need to break it up, that's okay too. And one thing Matt's doing really well with these sit-ups is he's keeping his hips glued to the ground. He's not allowing himself to kind of seesaw back and forth over that pad. He's keeping his butt glued to the one spot and allowing that upper body to kind of move independent of that. Okay, 10 seconds, so we'll start swinging back around for those push-ups again. We're gonna go one last round on this. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So although this is predominantly sort of arms, shoulders, chest, that sort of thing, you wanna pay a lot of attention to abs, glutes, sort of the whole trunk, hip area to stay nice and rigid on those push-ups. The tighter we are through there, the easier that press is. So last 40 seconds of the warm up. So if you're feeling good, you can bump the speed up. If you're feeling good as is though, guys, let's just keep doing your thing. We want to try and match this nice sort of open and closed feel we've got going on with the rib cage there. You can see Maddie kind of arches back over that pad. And that's sort of one of the benefits if you do happen to have that ab mat or at least a cushion underneath there. Not only supports the back, but gives us a little extra stretch in that bottom position. Good. Rolling into the last 10 seconds. We'll get a couple more reps out to finish. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, guys, that's the warm-up done. Have a bit of a chill, and then we're gonna move into build next. Alrighty, guys, so we're gonna have a look at the build workout now. How this one's gonna run is we have a 9-minute time frame, 3 sets to get through, so roughly looking at about a 3-minute block per set. What we're gonna run through is 10 RDLs or Romanian deadlifts. So that's gonna look like this. So dumbbells, kettlebell, weighted backpack, whatever you got at home. It's a deadlift with a real emphasis on the hips predominantly moving. So the knees will unlock, but they're not really going to bend. So the hips are gonna be much higher than our regular deadlift. Once we've done 10 of those, we're gonna move into 8 hang power cleans. So that is gonna be from above knee height, flicking up to that front rack position. Okay, once we've done that, we're gonna come down to the ground and go into 6 deficit push-ups. So the deficit is the dumbbell height. So from there, coming right down chest to ground and then pressing up to lockout. So hopefully we can get this work done in roughly around 90 or so seconds. That gives you a little bit of rest before the next round. If you find yourself taking the entire 3 minutes up, not getting into recovery time, maybe look at reducing the weight a little bit if you need to. Good to go, Maddie? Yes. All right, starting in 10. So we're gonna go with those Romanian deadlifts first. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So as I said before, guys, with this one, it's gonna look very similar to a regular deadlift, but the difference is we're gonna really try and drive the hips back and up. So the knees will really just unlock versus having a bend in them. What I would normally do for a regular deadlift is there would be a little bit of kind of sinking into the bottom of it. We're going to try and hinge the hips as much as we can now. Maddie's very flexible, so he's able to actually get the front ends of the dumbbells to the ground. It's not necessarily like a requirement that you do that. If you can, awesome. That obviously means you've got really nice, healthy hamstrings. What we don't want to do, though, is force that depth. If Maddie was finding that he was getting to a point and having to round off to get that deep, we'd probably pull it up just a little bit, make sure that he's able to keep that nice neutral spine. We want to have the pivot point just at the actual hip joint itself. Okay, so from there we move into the hang power clean. So this is just basically the short little turnover at the top of the clean movement. So it's above knee height in the hang position there, and then we're catching in a quarter or a 1/3 squat. Okay, and see he has that almost like a little momentary pause, and then stands up nice and tall. Once he's hit 8 on that, we're gonna move into those deficit push-ups. Nice, all right, so coming down. So dumbbells about sort of chest to shoulder width, thereabouts. You should be able to just squeeze your body through the middle there, so don't go too wide, you want them reasonably narrow. We've got that nice rigid body position. So his abs, glutes, legs, everything's gone stiff. That way he's not kind of pushing against a loose object. It's a nice rigid object. He's able to get that really efficient press out. So that was about 1:40 there. So he's got sort of just over a minute to recovery now, and then we're gonna get into the other 2 rounds. Okay, so 30 seconds, and then we'll hit up this next one. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So nice vertical shins is a sort of a key indicator with this one, guys. You want to make sure that the knees aren't buckling forwards or collapsing inwards. Trying to stack that knee joint sort of as close to right on top of the ankle as we can. And as you're driving up, what we'll do is actively think about hamstrings, glutes, that sort of thing. Squeeze them as you stand up. So don't just go through the motions. Actively try and contract the things we're trying to work. Now, another thing you'll notice is that Matty's keeping his arms kind of locked back in line with his legs. The dumbbells are going to kind of run down the line of his shin there. Now, if he was to relax, they would probably swing out in front, okay? So their natural position is actually much further out. We're trying to draw them in to keep the weight central to our center of gravity, okay? So moving to the hang power clean now. So notice that nice catch position he has. It's a little bit of like a quarter squat. Knees are nice and open. And he's just going to adjust the feet slightly each time. So the feet will jump maybe an inch or two outwards. So it goes from like a jump position to a landing position or squat position. And then he's just going to quickly wiggle them back in again. Allows him to still cycle at a decent rate. Okay, moving into the push-ups now. So with these guys, you can scale to knees if you want to. Okay, so that's going to look like that. Or toes, it's up to you, whatever you feel like you can move through that with a decent amount of challenge. And you can always add tempo to this as well, guys. If 6 deficit push-ups feels pretty cruisy for you, as you can see, Matty's really put the brakes on there, gone real slow. Make it more challenging for yourself. As long as we're finishing, again, in this kind of time frame of like 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes out of that 3-minute block, that's a good way to set up. Still gives us plenty of time under tension, but also gives us a decent rest. So 60 seconds and we'll hit the third and final round. Thirty seconds. All right, 10 seconds. We'll get ready for this third and final. And let's go for it. So final round of this one, back onto the 10 Romanian deadlifts. So a good way to do this, guys, is to think about sort of looking for a stretch. So even though this is a strength movement, we also want to think about the flexibility aspect of it. If I can ask a little bit more of the flexibility of my hamstrings whilst they're loaded up, that's going to make them really healthy. It's going to up that athleticism through that rear chain. Notice that Matty's head is kind of staying with his body. As he comes down, he's not craning that neck back. It's actually bringing the head with him. So at the top, it will be facing sort of slightly ahead. As he comes down, it's going to start to shift to a more of a downwards facing position. Now, the big thing with this hang power clean, guys, is that shrug, right? Is hit the hip extension. The shrug is kind of the little bridge between the lower body doing the work and then the arms finishing it off. So you want to make sure you really hitch up into that tall position, do an aggressive flick underneath. You can see how fast he is to flick to that front rack position. Okay, and utilizing whatever depth is necessary to get underneath it, obviously staying above a full squat though, with it being a hang power clean. All right, so looking at that nice, slow, controlled deficit push-up. So the challenge with this one, guys, is getting all the way through. Obviously, it's a deeper position now, being up on those dumbbells, and the bigger dumbbells you're using, obviously the bigger the deficit as well. So just make sure you get that nice big stretch all the way down. Nice. All right, so that's the third and final one. We've still got a little bit of time left on the clock there, so we'll let that keep ticking over. If you're still going, that's totally fine. Soak up that time, and then we'll push on to the move workout in a moment. So 60 seconds left on the clock. Hopefully you are on those push-ups, just finishing off the last few reps. Okay, last 30 seconds. Three, two, one, and time. All right, that's the build section done, guys. Get some water in, have some recovery time. We're gonna finish off with some mobility in a moment. Alrighty guys, so now that all the hard work's done, we're gonna cool things down with a little bit of mobility. First drill you're gonna do is a seated shoulder stretch. So legs are gonna be out in front like this. That is gonna work his hands into a nice close position behind him. We're gonna do this for 1 minute. So the end game of this down the track, so not necessarily today guys, but down the track is we want to get our pinkies to be able to touch behind us. That might take months, that might take years, but it's just what we're going to work towards, okay? Now he's looking pretty good there. The main things we want to see with him that he's doing well is that the shoulders are pinned back together and he's got the chest up nice and high. So we're looking for biceps, shoulders, pecs. You might even start to get some of those muscles that run down in between the ribs, all that sort of thing. So nice big breaths in. Try and expand that rib cage, breathe into the stretch. If you are someone who has fairly flexible shoulders and you can actually get those pinkies to touch, what you'll do is shuffle the hips forward a little bit and start to open up that angle in the shoulder. But I would prioritize getting the gap to close between the hands first before you start moving into that forward motion. So 10 more seconds. So this is gonna be a nice one for any kind of pressing workouts, anything like that. We've done a lot of burpees, push-ups, that sort of stuff. All right, so that's drill number one. Second drill we're gonna do is just an alternating calf switch. So Maddie's gonna go into a down dog style position there, and we're just gonna be switching the heels back and forth for the next 60 seconds. So it's a nice simple drill. You'll notice that he's gonna kind of hold that end range stretch for sort of 3 to 5 seconds each time. Back and forth, trying to get the foot flat to the ground. So sometimes it's a matter of adjusting where your hands are or putting your hands up onto something, maybe the edge of a couch or a coffee table. We are trying to get the foot flat to the floor. Sometimes if you've been doing a workout with a lot of pressing, a lot of shoulder work, and the shoulders are too tight to hold this, you can obviously do it against a wall, but it's the same motion with the legs there, just switching back and forth. So if you have tight hamstrings, guys, you might even find you get a little bit of hamstring stretch on this too, which is double up, which is awesome. And done. All right, so those are our 2 drills, guys. If you've got time, let's go 3 or 4 rounds, a minute apiece on each of them. Just go back and forth, get the body nice and loose. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time, and that's been your Move Plus workout.